After the 2 days, he left for Galilee. Now, Jesus knew well from experience that a prophet is not respected in the place where he grew up. So when he arrived in Galilee, the Galileans welcomed him, but only because they were impressed with what he had done in Jerusalem during the Passover feast, not that they really had a clue about who he was or what he was up to. Now he was back in Cana of Galilee, the place where he made the water into wine. Meanwhile, in Capernaum, there was a certain official from the king's court whose son was sick. When he heard that Jesus had come from Judea to Galilee, he went and asked that he come down and heal his son who was on the brink of death. Jesus put him off. Unless you people are dazzled by a miracle, you refuse to believe. But the court official wouldn't be put off. Come down. It's life or death for my son. Jesus simply replied, Go home. Your son lives. The man believed. He believed the bare word that Jesus spoke and headed home. On his way back, his servants intercepted him and announced, Your son lives. He asked them what time he began to get better. They said, The fever broke yesterday afternoon at 1 o'clock. The father knew that that was the very moment Jesus had said, Your son lives. That settled it. Not only he, but his entire household believed. This was now the second sign Jesus gave after coming from Judea into Galilee. Soon another feast came around, and Jesus was back in Jerusalem. Near the sheep gate in Jerusalem, there was a pool, in Hebrew called Bethesda, with 5 alcoves. Hundreds of sick people, blind, crippled, paralyzed, were in these alcoves. One man had been an invalid there for 38 years. When Jesus saw him stretched out by the pool and knew how long he had been there, he said, Do you want to get well? The sick man said, Sir, when the water is stirred, I don't have anybody to put me in the pool. By the time I get in there, somebody else is already in. Jesus said, Get up. Get up, take your bedroll, start walking. The man was healed on the spot. He picked up his bedroll and walked off. Now that day happened to be the Sabbath. And the Jews stopped the healed man and said, It's the Sabbath. You can't carry around your bedroll. It's against the rules. But he told them, The man who made me well told me to. He said, Take your bedroll and start walking. They asked, Who gave you the order to take it up and start walking? But the healed man didn't know, for Jesus had slipped away into the crowd. A little later, Jesus found him in the temple and said, You look wonderful. You're well. Now don't return to a sinning life, or something worse might happen. The man went back and told the Jews that it was Jesus who had made him well. And that is why the Jews were out to get Jesus, because he did this kind of thing on the Sabbath. But Jesus defended himself. My Father is working straight through, even on the Sabbath, and so am I. That really sent them off. The Jews were now not only out to expose him, they were out to kill him. Not only was he breaking the Sabbath, but he was calling God his own Father, putting himself on a level with God.